I want you all to have a warm welcome. Say hello to those who are next to you, who are behind you, who are in front of you. Just shake their hand or say, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? I hope you're doing good." And yeah, greet each other. All right, let's start with a word of prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving us life. Thank you for letting us be here in community with one another. May your Holy Spirit be in this place, and may you help us learn something new today. Thank you for everything you've given us. Bless us in our classes, bless our families, and help us have a good day today. In Jesus' name we pray, and we all said, amen.
Oh, come on. You guys can do better than that. Let's give him a hand of applause. There you go. Awesome. Great. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see you all today. It's 10 in the morning. For some of you, today is a day where you can take a little bit of a break because you probably don't have class. I know that a lot of you have to go to clinicals, and so I'm thankful that you can come this morning to community. Our emphasis today is on missions, and when I saw you walking in, I could recognize some of the faces of some of our students who have gone on mission trips, either to do missionary work, such as teaching there, or building something, painting a building, or doing something with construction. But also some of you who have gone abroad to study there in another country for a whole year, either Argentina, Italy, Spain, you name it. Mission can look different to a lot of people because everything that you do as a Christian, everything that you do as a Seventh-day Adventist can be missionary. You can be fulfilling the Great Commission that God gave to all of us to go and make disciples. And so the emphasis today, I'm not going to be preaching to you because I want to spend as much time with our guests, but I do want to give you a brief presentation to just kind of get you started on the opportunities that you can have here on campus to go on a mission trip. The question that you should ask yourself first when you're thinking about missions is, where should I go? Now, obviously, we know that to go and do mission, you don't necessarily have to travel abroad. You can do mission here on campus. You can do mission in your community, and you can do mission all over the United States. But I think that to experience mission in a different way, doing it outside of your comfort zone, outside of what you know, going to a place where you don't even speak the language, you're not even familiar with the culture, I think that is a type of mission that can help you grow in so many different ways than if you were to do mission here. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that one is better than the other one. No, because we should all live missional lives. But what I'm saying is that you on campus here at PUC, we can empower you. We can give you the tools. We can give you direction. We can help you to go into a mission trip. But where should you go? That's the first question. Well, I want to give you a resource right from the get-go, and this is a resource that the campus uses. There's many other organizations that PUC works with, but this is one of the most important ones, Vivid Faith, because through Vivid Faith, you can visit the website, you can Google that. This is just a screenshot of the assignments. I was scrolling through the assignments on this website, and I was amazed to the variety of work that you can do, voluntary work, because a lot of this doesn't come with a pay. It's all voluntary. You go there as a volunteer a missionary, and believe it or not, you only see a couple of. Can we leave that on the screen, please? Yeah, let's not put myself on the screen. Just leave the slide there. Thank you. You only see a few on the screen, but if you scroll down on the website, there's about 200, I think it was about 283 assignments. You go to their Instagram page and they're posting opportunities to go to Egypt, to go to Iran, to go to places that you would never imagine to go as a missionary. What are some of the things that you get to do there? Well, you get to teach, you get to be a volunteer in a local church, you get to preach, you get to build something, you get to minister to children, to families, you name it. It doesn't matter where you go. The opportunities of the type of work that you can do there are endless. So please, if you are interested in going into a mission trip, either long-term or short-term, and we're going to talk about that in a second, visit this website, Vivid Faith, so you can get an idea of what's available, and then you can talk to, and we'll talk about who you can talk to after you do that. Now the question is, for how long should I go? How long should I go into this mission trip? Well, the opportunities are, you can go for a weekend, you can go for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, or even a whole year. Now, the length doesn't really matter, because I think you can always get a powerful experience even if you go just for a weekend, because I understand that financially it impacts the situation. So the fact that you have options of how long you can go to a mission trip should encourage you to say, you know what, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a chance for me to experience something that I've never experienced before, and to do something good outside of what I know here in my own community. So again, how long can you go to a mission trip? You can go for a weekend, a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, for a whole year. And I've had friends who even after they graduate, I have a good friend, his name is Matthew, who even after he graduated, he's still doing mission work in Korea. He graduated in 2013, and he's been there since then, because going to that first mission trip thinking that he was only going for a year, he stayed there until this day. I'm telling you, the experiences that you get to have there are going to change you. They're going to help you see life so much differently. And also, I think they're going to help you to see your place in this world and how God wants to use you specifically with your gifts, with your talents. And so start thinking about that. Where should I go? How long should I go? But there's another question here that I think it's important. How can I pay? How can I pay for my mission trip? Now, the reality is it costs money to go to a mission trip because it is volunteer work. I've seen some mission trips out there where you actually get paid. For example, once you graduate with a bachelor's, that gives you other opportunities to do mission work where you can work and actually get paid for it. So there's those options. But it costs money to go there. And so how can you pay for your mission trip? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. You can fundraise, you can talk to your local church, you can save some money. But believe it or not, there are scholarships out there that you can get in order to go to a mission trip. Let me just mention to you one specific scholarship that the North American Division provides. And this scholarship is only specifically for Hispanic, people who are Hispanic of Native American descent. You can get a scholarship, but you have to have a commitment of 6 months in a location outside of the United States for 6 months in order to get funds to go to this mission trip. So if you are Hispanic, Latino, or Native American descent, talk to me, because this scholarship is available. It seems that not a lot of people know about it, and not a lot of people are using it. I just came back, I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the director was telling us, come on, let's find people that can use this money, because there's so much money available for young people that are interested in going to a mission trip for at least 6 months. That's the commitment that you need to make in order to receive this money. Also here at school, through the missions office, we have a website that we use that can help you. For example, if you want to do for some fundraising and ask people to donate to your fund, to your mission trip, we can facilitate that for you as well. So I mean, come on, there is ways to pay for your mission trip. Now let's come to this other question. How can I get more information? Well, talk to me, talk to Charlene, talk to Professor Hayes, who continually does mission trips every year, more than one. The nursing departments, they put together mission trips as well. I understand there's other departments that do the same thing. There's multiple people here that you can talk to that can give you all the information that you need to be a part of a mission trip. Now, we come to the last question. In order for us to get into to do an interview, today we're not going to have a presentation with our guest speaker. We're going to have an interview. And he's going to help us through his testimony, through his story. He's going to help us answer the question, why should I go to a mission trip? Now think about this question as you listen to our special guest, and I want to invite him. Let's give him a hand of applause. Tony Robles. And we're going to go through an interview process. I'm going to ask him a few questions, and I think after you hear him out that you will be able to answer this question, why should you go to a mission trip? And while we do that, there's going to be a video playing in the back, and you're going to get to see some of the awesome things that he got to do there in his mission trip. But Tony, please go ahead and take a seat. Tony, for us to begin this interview, I want you to tell us where do you grow up, what school did you go to, where do you graduate from, and where are you currently working?
Okay, so I grew up in near Visalia in Lindsay, California. Went to Lindsay High School, public high school, and I'm now working at PUC Prep, which is right around the corner here. So come by and visit. So PUC Prep, yeah. Nice.
All right. Do we have any students from PUC Prep here? Any graduates from PUC Prep? There you go. That's right. Now, Tony, where do you go to your mission trip, and how long were you there for?
I went to Palau. Palau, it's a small island. Not many people know where Palau is located. Anybody know where Palau is located? One person? Two people? Three people? Okay, so yeah, 4 people. Not many people know where Palau is. It's really small. There's 20,000 people that live there, and it's near Guam. So anybody know what Guam is? Yeah, area, Micronesia. So really close to Guam, yeah.
Nice. And how long were you there for?
I was there for 10 months, 10 months.
Did you go there right after you graduated from PUC, or you waited a little bit?
I went right before my senior year, so after my junior year, so just right before my senior year.
Oh, all right. So that means you can go for a whole 10 months, even if you haven't graduated from PUC, right?
Yeah. So you could go really anytime. You could go after your freshman year. You could go after your sophomore year, junior year, senior year. There's a lot of flexibility on the time. So I decided to go out there.
That's cool. And what organization did you go with? Who were the people that helped you out to make this happen?
So Adventist Mission, Adventist Volunteer Services is what I used. It's kind of like the Vivid Faith that you saw there. Very similar, a lot of callings. I applied to different ones. There were some really cool, interesting ones. One for everyone, actually. One that really stood out to me, other than the Palau one, was in the Middle East. They were looking for a football coach, soccer football coach, for a whole year. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I love football, soccer. And that was one of the options. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. There's like medical related. But in my case, I chose to be a science teacher in Palau.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Now, I don't want to skip the questions, but I know that you got to do something there in Palau that you currently do here in your job. I mean, what do you get to do there specifically? What kind of things you got to do there?
So in Palau, I got to teach chemistry. I taught physics. I taught health as well. And I also did a marine biology elective, which was really fun. I took my students to go snorkeling. A video that was playing was on like the scuba experiences I was able to do. I went with some of the students as well that were certified. So those were the 4 classes I was doing. I coached cross country as well while I was there.
Nice. And what do you currently teach at PUC Prep?
Right now I teach chemistry, biology, A&P, and Spanish as well. So it's so a lot of the stuff that I did there, I'm doing it now. So it was a really good experience to transition. It helped me out a lot when I transitioned at PUC Prep because I had that experience from before. So it was really helpful for me for that.
That's pretty cool, right? He got to do the things that he's currently doing in your vocation as a teacher. That's awesome. That's great. And I think that all of us here really, when somebody goes into a mission trip, especially for 10 months, especially even during a school year, you get to miss a whole year of school. What inspired you to go not just to a mission trip, but also to Palau specifically?
So there used to be, I think after COVID, there hasn't been too many missionaries from PUC going abroad, and it makes sense after COVID it kind of slowed down. Before there was a lot more people that were going. The reason why I heard Palau for the first time is because a friend went to Palau, so they told me like, oh, it's a really cool spa, and I saw their pictures as they were like doing their mission year, like their classroom. I saw, they went scuba diving as well. I love the ocean, so that was something really appealing for me. So I was inspired since I was young to be a missionary, but it was really hard for me to commit because, as you guys, I understand I was in college pretty not too long ago, and it was really hard to try to like skip a year. That's how I felt it, like I was going to waste a year. I really wanted to graduate with my class, so it was really hard for me to leave junior year because my classmates were going to graduate, and then I'll come back and I wouldn't know anyone from my class there. So it was really, really difficult, but what inspired me was going to a leadership conference for PUC. I went to help, as an ambassador of PUC. And my friends there, I spent a lot of time with them. They were all missionaries, and them sharing about it really got me into it. And I was in a really difficult position in my life during that time. I was having a lot of conflicts, questions, and I thought it was a good way for me to remove myself and really get to know myself as a person a lot better.
And while you were there, I can only imagine the stories that you can tell us. I mean, you shared a video. As a matter of fact, if you look him up on YouTube, he has a vlog where you can see his own experience while being there. He was just showing me in his computer some of the videos that he had his students record. But tell us maybe one or two memorable moments when you were there. Something that happened, one or two things that happened that really impacted your experience at Palau.
I think the aspect of service is very important. I was serving in the school, but it really felt sometimes like a job. It felt really weird the first few months, actually, because I felt like I wasn't really being like a missionary per se. I thought I was just there I was just working basically, because it was really busy. It was a school schedule, and I didn't really feel like I was doing anything for God per se, right? But it was actually one of the big moments for me was there was a different island called Peleliu. Some of you historians maybe know a little bit about Peleliu. There was a big battle in World War II. A lot of people were lost. There was a guy that was found in a cave 20 years later the war ended. So it was a really crazy spot, and there's a lot of damage from the war still. And we, as missionaries, sometimes there's a church, a small Seventh Adventist church, and on Sundays, sometimes we made an hour journey, 1 hour boat journey to this island and fix the roofing of the church, be with the locals, paint, do a lot of things. And that really was a big experience for me because I didn't really want to do it because I was like really tired and I was like, oh, it's my Sunday, I want to do my thing. But just being out there, one of those days, I don't know, I just felt like I connected a lot with God in one of those journeys, and seeing how smooth and peaceful the water was at that moment, and just admiring the beauty. I just really connected. So it was really memorable for me. I got to know myself a lot throughout that trip. And then also just graduation for my students. That was a big point. And some of my students are nurses now, which is amazing. Some of them are in their senior year of college, which is really, really great. So for me, it's like a continuum, like it just builds up every single year. I get blessed a little bit more from that experience of like graduation and my students that finished.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, you are still pretty young. I know it sounds like, man, your students graduated. No, but you're still pretty young. And so, Tony, as you were telling me all this, you were doing this ministry, you were doing this mission work during the pandemic, right? Did you go right before the pandemic or during the pandemic? When did you go?
Yeah, so I went 2019. And all of you guys know what happened in 2020, right? 2020, our lives changed. It's kind of weird to think about that was only 3 years ago. It feels like so much longer. But in 2019, everything was so good. And up to March 20th, about our spring break had just started, where we got an email saying, like, we have to cancel the school year because of COVID. Everything's shutting down in the U.S., We had shut down a little bit before that already, so we were pretty safe, and it's an island, so we didn't allow anyone to come in. So we were safe. There was no COVID, but everyone started getting scared. And I think we had 18 student missionaries at the time, and I think 11 left, so only 7 were left. I decided to stay because PUC told me, like, if it's your choice, if you want to stay, you can stay. And I decided to stay, but it took a lot. I had like 4 or 5 canceled flights because I was like, I'm going to go, decided not to go. But yeah, so it was really difficult with COVID. We almost canceled school, but we kind of worked something out together. We switched to virtual online school, so that helped out to be able to do the load and everything. So it was very difficult for sure, but living through that, it was a blessing for me in a way as well.
I know here on campus we have some teachers joining us for community, and being a student myself and having to take classes virtually during the pandemic, I remember it was tough even for me as a student, but I can't imagine for the teachers, because the connections that you make with, the friendships that you build, the mentorship that you build with your teachers. You as a missionary teacher, we can call you that, right? A missionary teacher. How were you able to overcome, the challenge of not being there present with your students? I mean, what were some of the things that you did to connect with them, to continually, because you were not just teaching them, you wanted to build a relationship, but what were some of the 1 or 2 things that you did in order for you to kind of take it to the next level and let your students know, I'm here for you, I'm present?
That was probably the hardest thing for me because it was really, really difficult. During COVID, that first couple of weeks, I really wanted to go back because of that reason. I wasn't really connecting with the students, and it was really hard to see them from distance. And we had Zoom meetings sometimes, but once a week. So that was really difficult for me because I was like, this is the reason why I'm here, and I can't do my role. So it was really, really difficult. But thankfully, throughout, I think for me, the best part was just staying and sticking with it, because by May, we still didn't know if graduation was going to happen. But thankfully, COVID hadn't reached Palau yet, and it didn't reach till maybe a year and a half later. So it was amazing. So in May, we started to realize, like, maybe COVID will never get in Palau. So maybe we should just start living our just life normally. So while you guys were all masking up and staying at home, we were actually the scuba diving, all that stuff. Everything I did, all the cool things I did in Palau was during COVID, because all the tourists left. And it was all for us, and it was super cheap. And the people, the businesses were like, please come, locals, please come. So that's why I got to do a lot of cool things. But in that time, a big dilemma was the graduation, because we wanted to have it, but at the same time, the government wasn't unsure. Finally, they gave us the green light, and we did the graduation, which was, I think, super special, because if I missed that and if I knew the graduation would have happened, it would have been something that I would regret a lot. So I think just staying and telling them that it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, I was going to stick by them. I think that was a really important way for me to connect. And that graduation was really emotional, and it was such a special moment that it's recorded on live stream. I rewatch it sometimes, and it gets the emotions of being there as well. So it's really special.
Now, are you still in touch with your students?
Some of them I have not talked to since, because we had a lot of students from China, and it's really hard. Social media and stuff doesn't really work the same way in China. So some of them, I feel like, I don't know, I may have never seen them. I may never see them again in my life, but I hope that at least what I did impact them could stay along. Some I've met up with 1 or 2 since then, because they are now in La Sierra. So when I was in SoCal, I was able to meet up with them. It was great. We got in and out, and it was fantastic. Some are in Southern Andrews. So I haven't really been in that part of the U.S., so I haven't seen them, but I do connect with them occasionally on, like, don't go, yeah, on Instagram or something. I just like to see what they're doing, and it's really cool. Sometimes one of my students was taking chemistry, and they were like, oh, I remember this, what you taught us, and thank you so much, and that meant a lot for me. So, like, they reach out sometimes, so it's really cool to see where they're going.
That sounds pretty cool. Now, I do want to go back a little bit again, I knew I was going to skip a question, but let's take a little side trip and just kind of get to know you a little bit more. Tony, you work here for PUC Prep. How long have you been working there?
This is my third year. So it's my third year PC Prep. And yeah, so started right after I graduated 2021.
Nice. What are some of the things that you like about working at PUC Prep?
A lot of things. For sure, the faculty is great. We have a really good respect to each other, and I think that's great. The students, it's a small campus, so I really like connecting with everyone. The sports, it gets really, really hectic and really busy, and parents are, preps parents know and understand that very, very well. It gets really busy, but it's super fun. It's just like brings me back, makes me feel younger, and I be part of the group. And I think there's just so much things going on there, and it's like the fact that we're close to the college. I've had a lot of support from the college as well, from the biology department, supporting us to do labs there, which is amazing, and Dr. David is supporting me for classes as well, chemistry. So it's really cool to just be here, and I just love this area a lot too. So there's many things. It just makes me feel like home, community for sure.
Now, a little fun fact, I met Tony when he was 14, 15 years old. When his voice was like this still. No, his voice was already, no, I can't remember actually your voice, but I remember meeting him for the first time, and one of the things that I've always appreciated about you, Tony, is that, you're always very approachable. You're someone that you're easy to talk to, but even more so that you are a Barca fan. That's your team. He loves soccer. Him and I love soccer, by the way. When he comes home, I let him win when we play FIFA. That's fine. We don't want to destroy that friendship. But also, I know one of the things that I enjoy about, getting to know Tony is that he's a coffee aficionado. And he can make some pretty good coffee. I mean, I went to his house the other day, and I can't remember the last time I had such a good espresso. It was really, really good, Tony. Now let's go back to a question that it's crucial for me to ask. As you were, looking where you were gonna go, you found the place, you were getting ready to go to Palau. How did you prepare mentally and spiritually? What were some of the things that you did to kind of make it happen? Really, to not say I'm not gonna go last minute. How did you prepare mentally and spiritually to go to this mission trip?
Yeah, so I remember when I got accepted, because it was a long process. It's a long process. If you guys try, I recommend everyone doing that, getting a year as a student missionary or ACA, 10 out of 10. I wish I could do that again, but it's so much harder. Once you graduate college, it's really, really difficult because now you have a job, you have other things, and you don't want to leave that job, and it's like you want to travel. So definitely do it. But I was in Fisher Hall, and that's when I received a call by the principal, and he was like, "You're going to Palau, like you're accepted." And I did not know what to do. I was excited, but also nervous. I was like, what did I do? Like, I already committed. Oh my goodness, I have to go. So that was like in May. And after that, just getting emails from him, like what I need. And I started talking to friends that had been to Palau to kind of tell me what to expect, like what would I have in my room. So it was very challenging and stressful because I didn't know what to expect, really. And I was the only one from PUC going. I did not know absolutely anyone coming in. So it was really difficult in that sense. I was a little bit nervous and, just didn't know what to expect, which I think in a way it made it a lot better because I went with a clean slate and I knew that I was just there to serve God and that He was going to direct that for me. So logistically, like getting, there was stuff we had to do for, attire that we had to wear and the stuff that we needed for our rooms, anything that I needed for my classroom. That was tough. The hardest part was like learning how to teach, which was really hard at the beginning because we got a whole introduction of how to do the teaching and lesson plans. But it wasn't until I got there that first day that I completely messed up the schedule and I was not prepared. And it was really embarrassing and also it was really tough. For the next 2 or 3 weeks, it was like, why did I get myself into this? But it started getting better and it just to the point where I was like, this is amazing. Like I'm connecting kids. I could see that they're learning and it's just challenging them. And I think that was really, really special for me. So logistically, it was just getting everything together. But mentally, it was just doing it. So just going out there and doing it. And I think that has been probably the best experience for me is knowing that I was able to do it, and I just went and without an expectation and completed the task that I had signed up for.
Now, knowing that, and I appreciate everything that you're sharing, and I want to ask you to share two things. Something that I do with my campus ministry team, I always ask them, to share, a good or a bad moment, or a thorn, or a rose, or a sticky noodle, but what was something? Let's start with the funny thing. What was the funniest thing that happened to you while you were there? Something that you remember and you're like, man, that was so silly. That was so funny. Just kind of thinking back to that.
There's plenty. It's kind of hard to think on the spot. Let's see.
Well, think about that. Maybe let me ask you the second one. What was the most challenging thing that you got to face there? The thing that you were like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, you don't have to share too much, but something challenging that maybe discouraged you. Maybe we know the pandemic for all of us. That was probably one, but something that you were like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this.
Yeah, I think definitely the pandemic was the biggest challenge thing. I think for everyone it was a very challenging moment. And for me, I actually, that Friday, I went scuba diving with my friends. And while we were scuba diving, there was no reception or anything. That's when they sent out an email. So there was a lot of, everyone just going crazy in the school because they were like, what are we going to do? They're going to cancel the flights, so we're gonna get stuck. So by the time we got to land after the scuba diving trip, it was fun. We look at our phones and it's just like hundreds of messages, right? And you're like, what's going on? We get to the school, we realized that already 2 SMs were leaving like in 2 hours, like they were heading back. So it was like, it's kind of like we were a family at that point. It was like in March, so we had been there, we grew as a family, and it was like if it was being ripped apart, like really quickly. So that was very difficult experience for sure, and just like I was very conflicted of like what should I do, like I mentioned, and I kind of briefly I mentioned about that already. But I think another challenging moment. One really challenging moment for me spiritually also, mentally also, was toward the end in May, where I was just really spiritually, I was really tired. And I think it's not really talked about too much as a missionary. Sometimes they're like, you're a missionary, let's put everything on you. So like, especially once those 11 missionaries left, now there were 7 left, and now all the responsibilities were on those 7. So we had special music, we had Sabbath school, we had personal ministries, and Sabbath just felt even more tiring than all the other days. And at the end, I was just like really struggling, where I was like, man, I feel like this, I should feel more on the high after a mission trip instead of like just wanting to decompress and just have relax at home. So that was really challenging for me spiritually, mentally. Like, what should I do? Like, did I not do it right, or what's missing? But I think in the end also, it clicked something on me, which was, again, Palauan, a friend of mine who would take me spearfishing. He asked me, like, how is it being a missionary? Like, you guys must have such a strong walk with God, and you must be doing your devotionals and prayers and having a great time. And that was like when I was battling the most. And it really clicked with me that sometimes, in our spiritual walk, it's not just roses, it's not just flowers. There's ups and downs, but that's part of the journey. And for the first time, I think it made me okay with not being in a perfect spot with God, which I think was very important, because now if I'm struggling with something, I'm not feeling guilty. I'm just feeling wanting to, reach God just in a loving way, So I think that was really important for me, a big challenge, and really important for me to realize and understand.
And I think it's important for you to mention that, because I'm dying here with my is that it's important for us to not idolize mission work, because it we don't want to make it seem like this, that everything is going to be great, everything is going to be awesome. There's going to be difficult moments, and I think you share that is important aspect. But everyone is getting sick on campus. I am after the sick. It's just that this cough stayed with me. But Thanks, Pastor Nate. You just proved my point. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, I got it from you. Just two last questions as we wrap this up, Tony. And how did it? And you share a little bit about it already, but if we can be more, more specific. But how how did this mission trip change your perspective on life, on spirituality, on your own relationship with Christ? If you can kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was huge. I think I really started finding myself for the first time after that trip, and just like it's really awesome just connecting with someone else abroad. I think that's for me my favorite thing. I like making friends from places abroad. I've been to Greece the last 2 years, and I every single time I've made more friends, and it's really awesome to be able to connect with them also. And and they like soccer too, and I would play with them, and stay in touch. So I think one of the things that it made me realize is that the world is very huge. We already know that, obviously, but being able to be in a small little island and just feel how much I care for that island, even though I'm not there, is something that has been really empowering for me. Knowing that I could make a small difference, and how that small island could make a big difference in me as well. So that was really huge. In terms of my spirituality, like I was saying, like I started to understand that being a disciple of Jesus is being a learner, instead of someone that's just following everything. And a learner is someone that's going to have mistakes, is going to have problems, and you're going to go and seek to learn or keep learning. So that was really important for my spiritual walk. My values at that point shifted more to like just enjoying life and being positive, and trusting God, and also just appreciating time, because we have such a limited time here on this earth. And I think whether it's as a student missionary or doing something else, like I definitely want to bring value to this world as much as I can. And it showed me that if I could do that 1 year there, I could do that here in this community as well, and make a big impact. I don't have to go really far. I could connect with those here. And if you're doing ACA also, like that's a way to connect. You meet a lot of friends, and you're going to connect with them. And I recommend just in general doing anything abroad, because it's going to change your perspective, your new cultures that you'll see, and you'll stay connected with them, and it'll be a great thing to do.
Now, last question. And this question, in a way, you've already done it multiple times. What advice would you give to a student that is considering their first mission trip? One thing that you would say to them as they're thinking about it, maybe planning for it already.
Okay, so using next slogan, just do it. I think like I mentioned it many times, just do it. It's very important to do. It's going to change your life. And I know everyone has heard that many, many times, but it won't be till you do it that you'll actually realize how beneficial it is. So it's really difficult. For me, it was really difficult to say, I won't graduate with my class. I will slow down my career and start later. I will have to take a break. It was really difficult for me, but once I did it, I have zero regrets at all. And maybe I wish I did ACA also. I wish I did maybe 2 years of Palau. Like it's a great, beautiful time right now in college to do this, because it gets really tough after you finish college. And everyone told me that, and I didn't think that was real, but I'm just glad that I didn't I didn't just listen to myself, and I did take those tips and suggestions and decided to do it, because it really transformed who I am as a person. So yeah, if you're interested, like you said, you could ask me questions, talk to Pastor Arturo here, look up the website. There might be some really cool things that might be interesting for you. That's something that I strongly recommend for everyone to experience. And if you don't, it's okay. You could start doing that here, doing a short-term mission trip. I know Dr. Hayes, I don't know if he's here, but he does trips to Kenya, to Fiji, and to many other places. So start with that. If that's what you could do, start with that, and then you could decide for a longer term.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I do appreciate, that was going to be my last question to you, really, is for letting the students know that if they want to talk to you, that they can do that as well. And, there's other people here that have gone on trips as well. And just kind of doing a little summary of what you just told us, I like what you said. We don't know the rights to this, by the way, so we don't want to get in trouble, but just do it. I mean, I think the more we overthink it, it makes it more, we start making excuses, putting up walls, and say, we're not going to do it. But I do appreciate that advice, and thank you again for letting the students know that if they have questions, they can come to you, and hopefully through answering those questions, you can encourage them as well. But thank you so much, Tony, for your time. We appreciate it. Can we give him a hand of applause, please? Well, everyone, have a beautiful rest of the day. Again, if you have questions about mission, you know who to talk to. May you have a blessed rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow and for the rest of the weekend.